First up, a man who, well, I'm not going to say we were surprised, but we certainly were taken aback a little bit by the amount of love that Liverpool fans have for a man who was only there for 2 seasons. Will you welcome, please, Gary McAllister?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. We also have Everton fan Colm there beside you.
Yeah. See, that's why I like him as well. He was only there for 2 years. I didn't grow to hate him.
We noticed your song, actually. Poor Raheem Sterling didn't get a song.
Has he not got a song yet?
Well, I think something about his agent being a
knob.
Yeah, basically. We signed you for free. We won all 3. Your Dortmund pen, your Bradford goal, your Coventry goal, your Spurs penno, your Barca pen, your Derby goal, your Baldy head, your Gary Mack. Oh, Gary Mack.
Gary Mack.
Was pretty much how that went.
Do you know what? I've got a 3-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old daughter. I've remarried after losing my first wife. And obviously, my older boys have showed her these little clips on YouTube, and they sing that song to me. Gary Mack song. It's fantastic.
When you're mad at them.
Your baldy head.
So, Gary, I mean, it's just an amazing story, really, the way it worked out for you and the way it worked out for Liverpool. You joined when you were 35, and as Tomo alluded to there, I don't know if you heard him, but he was along with Gerrard Houllier. The reaction of everyone was, what are they doing this for? What's the point of signing 35-year-old Gary?
Yeah, well, I was very much aware of that. I was very much aware of what was being said in the streets of Liverpool. And I think it was more obvious when I sort of seen a little line from, I think he was the editor of the fanzine, You'll Never Walk Alone.
Right.
He was sort of going along the lines of, yeah, he might have been not a bad player. He was good at Leeds United, won the league, he did okay at Coventry. But as you say, if he says if he plays more than half a dozen games, I'll show my arse in Woolworth's window. And I can that was a wee bit of an inspiration. You know, that was an inspiration that to sort of, I'll show you. And he became a good pal, actually.
Did he show his ass?
No, not quite. Woolworths went bust.
Did you expect to move to Liverpool? You know, because you were with Coventry and you ran down the contract. Like, were you expecting such a big move at 35?
No, not at all. But there was little murmurings. I don't know if people are aware, but my agent, I'm in the same stable as Steven Gerrard, Emile Heskey, Nick Barmby, and Jamie Carragher. So my agent had 4 players at Anfield. And if you can remember back then, you know, I think I never quite agreed with the Spice Boy thing. I thought that was a load of nonsense. I know the guys that were supposedly the Spice Boys, and they're not. They're fantastic pros. But it was Gerrard was in this sort of phase where he'd get rid of Paul Ince, Steve Staunton, Dominic Matthew. There was quite a few senior players had left. And because they'd quite a few good youngsters coming through, Danny Murphy, Michael Owen, Steven Gerrard, and Jamie Carragher, they felt there was a lack of British experienced players in the dressing room. And I got a little bit of a soundbite from my agent saying, you know, I think Gerrard Houllier might be interested. And obviously I was at Coventry with one of my best friends, who was the manager, Gordon Strachan. And I was coming at the end of a contract. And I couldn't really tell him that I'd heard that Liverpool were interested, because he was sort of trying to renegotiate a new deal at Coventry. Liverpool, Coventry. Gordon Strachan, my best mate. So, as soon as I heard that Liverpool might be interested, obviously, I sort of said, you know, I'll just leave the contract talks to the end of the season.
Yeah. People are very familiar with your career, I'm sure. Motherwell until 85, then Leicester, and then Leeds, and you win a championship, and then there's Coventry in there as well. Actually, while you were at Coventry, I did want to ask you, Robbie Keane was there as well.
Yeah.
Now, I remember that was the time when they signed him, and Alex Ferguson at the time said, I wouldn't pay 1 million for him, let alone 6 million for him.
Well, obviously, because Wolves are in the Midlands, I'd got to see him quite a bit, you know, and on his arrival at Coventry, I was amazed at the cleverness of this. He was 18, 19 at the time when he came in. It was a lot of money. 6 million was a lot of money. But for such a young player, I couldn't believe that he played with such an authority, and his cleverness of movement, he could score a goal. And the fact is, for me, I feel I owe Robbie a lot, because the season he came, I scored 13 goals for Coventry. And I would say Robbie probably was assists in 3/4 of them. Just his awareness, he could pick out a movement, and he set me up for 3/4 of my goals. So I owe Robbie Keane quite a lot.
To move to Liverpool.
Yeah, he probably instigated it with all the assists that he gave me, 13 goals.
Yeah.
Incidentally, I'm told there is an alco pop in Coventry called the Gary Mac, which is blue with vodka. I'm sure you've heard that. You're a cult figure everywhere, really. A Gary Mac in Coventry, that's what it'll get you.
I think there's a Chinese restaurant got a Gary Mac sort of dish numbers. I think it's number 21.
We're on the radio, by the way.
Sorry.
You're dropping F-bombs. I just want to let you know. You can do it if you want.
Sorry.
But just so you know.
Yeah.
I don't think Lawrenson knew, actually.
No. Is this live?
Yeah, it's live.
I thought they don't bleep it, no.
No, we're getting some unedited.
Delayed live, I thought.
Yeah. So anyway, the move to Liverpool. The move to Liverpool comes around. Like, are they throwing big money at you because it's Bosman?
Do you know what? The first thing I said to my agent when he went in the room, and initially he went in the room with Gerrard Houllier, and I sat outside the office with Phil.
Right.
And I indicated to Phil, I said, this won't take long. And the last message I sent to my agent when we went into with Gerrard to negotiate, I said, do not dare lose this over money.
Right.
Because in all honesty, at 35, I went to Coventry for money. It was the first time I ever moved. I was 31 when I left Leeds United, and people said, why are you leaving Leeds? Leeds captain, Scotland captain, why are you going to a team who are strugglers at the bottom end of the table most years? I went for money, and it was the first time I ever thought I was always footballing moves.
Yeah.
So it was nice to get the option to go back and make a footballing move. I wanted to go to Liverpool to play for Liverpool.
Did you admit you moved for money at the time, or is it just now you can admit that?
I can only admit that now that I've left Coventry.
I'd love to say Gerrard Houllier had an eye for a player, but the same season he signed you, I want to read out a couple of players that he signed. I've got to...
No, this is worth doing.
I got to be...
And this was
Shut up, come on.
Was this the treble-winning season?
Yeah, it was.
It was the treble-winning season.
Okay, I'll qualify if I said it was a treble-winning season. I'm going to be like Paul Merson trying to pronounce these now. Bernard Diomed, not great, was he?
Didn't play that often.
Pegai Arfazed.
Ex-Leicester City goalkeeper, didn't play that often.
Gregory Vignal.
Vignal, he played quite a bit, left back.
All right, I'm an Everton fan. Biscan, he played too.
Biscant.
Okay, Biscan was the new Zidane, wasn't he? And Daniel Schloland.
Yeah, he was a young Swedish lad he actually got a few bad injuries. He was a nice player, but he actually never came through. He just had a few bad injuries.
Yeah, and Gary McAllister, who did all right.
The freebie.
The freebie.
Here's what Steven Gerrard in his autobiography said. When Gary McAllister joined Liverpool, I was not alone in the dressing room and wondering what Gerrard was doing. He seemed an odd buy. Okay, he was once a terrific midfielder. But he was now 35. His best days surely behind him. I rang my agent, Struan Marshall, who knew McAllister. I said, well, Stru, what's all this about? Don't worry, Stevie, said Struan. Gary Mack will be brilliant for Liverpool, and for you as well. Listen to him, learn from him. Sod off, Stru, I said. McAllister can learn off me. He does qualify it then by saying how wrong I was, and he talks about getting on the bus across those 2 years to pick your brain and to learn from you and to, stop hitting those Hollywood balls all the time.
No, there was, obviously, he was on arrival, I'd heard a lot about Steven Gerrard.
He'd only played 44 times at that stage. He was still getting going.
Yes, but the thing was, that there was always people claiming that they'd found Steven Gerrard. Whether it was a youth team coach or the scout away back when he was 12. The facts are, these guys are born. Gerrard was just a phenomenal footballer, and within 10 minutes of actually being on a training ground with him, there's something special there. The way he trained, the intensity of his training. You could see the passion that he had for, even the training jersey, because it's got the liver bird on there. That came through, along with the Carragers and Owens and Fowlers, the younger generation in that dressing room. And there was no doubt, in my mind, that Liverpool had somebody who was going to be very special. And he didn't let anybody down. He's just a phenomenal footballer.
Yeah.
And he says some really nice things and kind things to me. But for me as a 35-year-old, I used them as an inspiration. It was great to be back in amongst people of this level of ability, and I fed off them, and that's what gave me the extra couple of years right at the death of my footballing career. They gave me the lift to think, I've got a chance of maybe winning another medal here.
What was the dressing room like that you went into, because it come off the Spice Boys kind of era, and they hadn't won that much, since the Kenny Dalglish era, were they low on confidence, or was it the Liverpool you thought it would be walking into?
You can imagine the Scouse crack is was legendary. You know, they're very much like the people of Ireland, the people of where I come from, you know, the west of Scotland, Glaswegian patter. You know, so there was loads of that flying around. Then you've got a sort of a German guy who's sort of half British, half Scouse as well. Didi Hamann didn't know what he was. You know, loved a fag and a pint, and his
and the cricket as well.
You know, so he was something different. You know, so the dressing room was fine. You know, and you could just feel whether we were ready to challenge to win a league.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but we came close in that couple of years. But you could certainly feel that a cup was within our capabilities.
Yeah.
What were your expectations then? Were you expecting to play how many games? Were you expecting to be on the bench? What was the plan?
Do you know what? I had to first and foremost, the first thing I had to do, even with Phil Thompson and Sammy Lee, who were Gerrard's assistants, and all the players, I had to turn up on that first day at training and be in the first 4 or 5 in the training session. You know, because the pre-season training is obviously about getting the physical side right. And I knew the players thought, well, yeah, he could pass the ball, he's no bad at that, but can he still run? So my whole summer was spent preparing for that first week. And that first week gained me the respect for the other players. He's all right, he can still actually run.
Because you came out top in a few of the tests.
Yeah, that was intentional.
Yeah.
I had to show the management group, you know, so that they'd pick me, and the players that I could still run.
Yeah. The season turned into an incredible one for Liverpool. Wooly enjoys this next moment. This is one of your most famous moments. And we're not going to play it just yet. Just 1 second. Okay.
McAllister takes it. Surely final opportunity. McAllister takes it. Oh, yes!
Okay, we'll give that a try again. I'm just going to hold it there 1 second. I'm going to throw to it. What we don't see here, actually, funny, before we throw to it, it's in the extended version, is it's the free kick, 44 yards out, and you can talk us through it as well before we throw to it. But they're in the penalty area expecting a cross, but you start telling all the players, the Liverpool players, to go over to the back stick as if you're going to ping it to them.
Well, I know there might be people in here who are at the game. I know how many people go over from here to the games. But about 3 or 4 minutes before, we had a free kick in a very similar position. And I'd sort of drifted the ball up to the back post towards Babel, Hippier, and Heskey. And I think it was Sammy Hippier. I picked him out, and he had a sort of flashing header which just went across the face of the goal. So when we got the free kick the second time, obviously I was trying to mimic the same sort of movement. I was telling the players to go up to the back post, that I was going to maybe try and just play the same ball. But as I was directing the players up to the back post, I could see Paul Gerrard just trying to creep. He was trying to anticipate that I was going to go for the same sort of flighted ball up to the back post.
When do you decide to shoot? Is it in the run-up? Is it just before?
Well, there's a couple of little things.
Did Kevin Campbell make up your mind walking out of the two-man wall?
At the two-man wall, and I don't know, but I think the 3 or 4 yards that I just nicked as well as I spun the ball, as the referee turned his back.
We all noticed that.
You know, I just spun it forward a wee bit, so I thought I'm now in a wee bit of range.
Yeah.
And what I used to do with All's free kicks, I would take a little dummy run just to see if the goalkeeper was looking to try and go to one side.
That's one of the most.
He would always, just in the corner of my eye, I always see if the keeper was wanting to go left or right.
You'd always do a dummy run on your freeze,
And as I did the dummy run, Jamie Carragher was anticipating he could actually. He started, because he's a clever lad. He's a very good footballing man. He came up and went, "Don't you even think about shooting."
Because this is the last minute and it's all level.
You've just told me not to swear, but he didn't really say it like that.
Yeah.
He said it in a different type of language. But I just thought, Gerrard's going to try and come and take this up at the back post. But obviously it's 14 years ago and it's now 64 yards, of course.
Well, turn around. This is at 44 yards and the winner in the derby.
Surely final opportunity. McAllister takes it. Yes! What a goal! Gary McAllister! And Liverpool, where's the free kick? There's brilliant vision. Great free kick taken there, really. Superb. The wall could have done a lot better to block it.
Not bad. Not bad.
A great free kick.
Yeah. I love Gerard Houlier's face, just the sheer disbelief on Houlier's face.
Yeah, the faces, you know, obviously people who know Goodison and the Liverpool fans are sort of up in that corner.
Yeah.
So I sort of ran there and the faces there. And then as I spin away towards the Liverpool dugout, you know, Sammy Lee and Hooley's face was
amazing.
Fantastic.
That goal, incidentally, I did Google it during the week. It has its own Facebook page. And as you can see, it'll come up on the screen, Gary McAllister's 94th minute, 44-yard free kick winner in the derby. Like, Gary, I think you need to make friends with that page. I really do. I think you need to make friends with that page. So the season kept on going. FA Cup final. You were dropped. Is drop the word arrested for that?
No, I would. Do you know what? The dressing room is obviously split. When it comes to an FA Cup, and we obviously get a UEFA Cup final on the Wednesday following.
Yeah.
If you ask all the European players in that dressing room, Smicer, Berger, Haman, Hippier, which one? Biscant.
Zidane.
Which one would you like to play? And all the European guys, they want to play in the UEFA Cup final.
Yeah.
You ask all the British guys, you know, we all want to play in the FA Cup final. You know, as a young boy growing up in Motherwell, I want, you know, you've seen the pictures coming through Wembley. I wanted to play in an FA Cup final. So I'd scored, I think I'd scored 5 games in a row.
You were flying, yeah.
Leading up to the FA Cup final. And I was told at 1:30 of the day of the game that I wasn't playing. I thought I was nailed on to be playing at Wembley.
Yeah.
The Millennium, against Arsenal. But, you know, as it turned out, I went on the game, I went on the pitch at 1-0 down, and we managed, Michael Owen's 2 goals were just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And as we're celebrating, and as we're just about to go up and pick up the trophy, Gerrard Hooley came and tapped me in the shoulder and went, "Be ready for Wednesday, you're playing in Dortmund."
Great.
So there was lows, highs, and then an even greater high because I knew I was playing. He used to always tip me off when I was playing.
Yeah. I can vividly remember the final against Alaves, and just, you know, it was just extraordinary, the season you were having already, and then to get man of the match in that game. Like, we have a little montage here. You scored a goal and you set up all the other goals. So, I mean, it was just incredible. Like, everybody gave you man of the match. I remember Alan Hansen saying it was one of the most incredible performances he'd seen. Here's a little reminder for people here.
6 Liverpool players in attacking positions. And an opening goal is scored by the German. Marcus Babbel scored against Barcelona, brought them to the final. Now he can restore a 2-goal advantage in the final. And he does. McAllister. Fowler coming in from the left. Owen is in space. Fowler hangs on and scores! Would you believe it? Five Liverpool players to attack the ball. Oh, it's an own goal! It's a golden goal. But what a nightmare for Alaves. McAllister's free kick.
It's an amazing game, yeah. And you know, again, a lot of people don't know this. Half the team had no idea that it was golden goal.
Really?
If you actually get a chance to see sort of the main camera after that golden goal goes in,
Yeah.
there's 5 or 6 of our boys go back to centre the ball again to continue. They had no idea it was golden goal.
Oh, dear.
And it's not necessarily pretty rude. It's a memory I've got of this game which will never go away. It sort of haunts me a little bit.
Okay.
Robbie Fowler actually came on and scored a goal. But as he was warming up, I don't know if you picture Westfalenstadion, you've got the yellow wall,
Yeah.
which is the Dortmund end.
Yeah.
Alaves had that. And then the 3/4 of the ground was Liverpool fans. So Robbie was warming up behind me as I was taking a corner in the Liverpool end of the stadium that night. And just as I step back, something comes flying at the crowd
Yeah.
and lands, just whizzes past my ear, and I'm thinking, gee, what's that? And Robbie Fowler was just stretching, he was ready to come on. So I have a glance and I think, surely not.
What?
And then as closer inspection, it was the biggest double dildo I've ever seen in my life. Somebody had thrown from the top of the stand, and people ask me my memories of the UEFA Cup. And Robbie Fowler, cool as a cucumber, walks on the pitch and he flicks it up with his right and volleyed it back into the crowd.
You've just won best story of the night. Well done.
It had to be a double one.
It was terrifying. I didn't know what it was.
As if a normal one wasn't weird enough.
I'm not that way inclined, to be fair.
Right, let's all take stock. Keen Mert is in the crowd somewhere with a question. Not dildo related.
Hopefully not, Joe. No. We've got James Byrne here who's got a double-handed question, all right. He's got a question for Wooly and for Gary.
Hiya. Question for Wooly.
Where are you?
Hang on, sorry.
I'm over here.
Question
Over
for
here by the door.
Do we need a question for Wooly when
Well,
Gary
he's
McAllister's on the show?
He's doing nothing else there at the moment.
Okay. Quick question for Wooly.
It's just about you being an Everton fan. What about your hopes about holding an Everton show, or is the phone box and the Foggy Jew booked out for the rest of the year?
Listen, Conor McGregor has Croke Park during the summer, so it's booked out. So
Keep dreaming.
Was there a question for Gary?
Yes. FSG, what do you think about the transfer policy? They seem to be getting rid of the high earners and replacing them with yellow brand players. Case example, Pepe Reina they got rid of and they replaced him with Mignolet. And they got rid of Daniel Agger as well and replaced him with Lovren.
Okay.
Yeah, well, there's obviously a philosophy. They've got a model that they work within, which they feel as if it's been successful.
Yeah.
Obviously, in another sport. But where are the wages going to go? The facts are that the new deal actually brings more money into the football clubs.
Yeah.
And if you're going to compete and be competitive, you've got to pay the going rate. That's where it might be a problem.
Yeah.
just a quick one. You obviously joined Liverpool when you were 35 and, up the top of all the runs, fit enough. Steven Gerrard's leaving. He's fit enough to stay. Do you think that's a mistake from Rodgers, or, has he got too big for the club?
No, I don't think he's too big for the club. Stephen,
or too big for the manager, maybe?
No, he loves the club. There's no doubt in that. I just think it might be time for a change. I think he could have been used more this year. I thought at times, certainly the decisions on a few of the games, Man United and the Real Madrid decision, I was really surprised. I thought they could have used his experience and his know-how to help the younger players around him. But everything comes to an end. It comes to a natural end, and I think Stevie's looking for a new challenge. And it's a wonderful opportunity for him and his family to go and make it's a lifestyle change as well.
Is it true that as you said your goodbyes to Anfield in 2002 and did the lap of honour, I think it was against Ipswich, that the song that went up was "What a Waste of Money"? Kind of summed up the relationship, really. You got them and they got you.
Yeah, that rapport was. It sort of kicked off in a pre-season friendly against Parma. I think we smashed Parma, who were going really well at the time. In the Serie A, I think we won 5 or 6, 7-0 or something. They were only early stages of their pre-season, and then just over the years, it's been a good club for Scots people. And my feeling was always I can't let down the Scots who still come and watch. The Souness, Dalglish, Hansen, they were always up there. And it was very similar when I was at Leeds United as well. I always felt I had to do the Scots guys who had done really well at that club as well. The Greys, Bremner, Bobby Collins, Joe Jordan, McQueen. I always had that fear of letting them down, representing Scotland.
Well, I don't think you did, and there's a lot of love for you in the room and around Liverpool. Can you give it up, please? Brilliant guest, Gary McAllister.
Thank you.
Well done.